Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to my lecturers, Dr. Ferry. My name is Alisya Binti AHMAD Shaifuddin. Today I'm going to present my inventory and analysis phase with the synthesis phase. So the first part is my introduction on hidden tradition in conservation and enhance the traditional charcoal activities landscape site in Kuala, Sepetang, Waterways, Larut, Matang dan Selama District Perak, Darul Rizwan. So this is the site background that explain where the traditional charcoal activities making were located at this area. So we can see that the area is between the Pulau Sanggar Besar, Pulau Sanggar Kecil, Teluk Kertang and Trong. So it is the strategic place for the charcoal transportation activities for this site area. So this is my site plan that I want to show the divided place in this charcoal factories area. It consists of three owners of factories owners, which is Purchase Factories, Michael Choice Factories and K Host Holding. So this area is surrounded by the mangrove forest, residential area and Kapal Cangkul rivers and also the Teluk Kertang. Then we go to the timeline background, how the charcoal history will exist in this area. So between the British colonization and the area in the 1930s, the charcoal production in Malaysia was once booming industry in the area, but it has suffered a steep decline in volume produced and sale revenue in 2000. But today charcoal production has been termed as sunset industry and famous in the other country such as Japan and China and so on, because the charcoal production has been used for their cosmetic and others product. So this Matang charcoal industry was a very thriving industry during 1930s. Then I want to this is my project overview, and which I explain the project site information. And my project intention is I want to identify and analyze the site project for design exploration and to conserve and also to enhance the traditional charcoal activity landscape site in Kuala, Sepetang. I also want to preserve the identity of traditional in charcoal making, because nowadays the traditional method in charcoal making has been demolished in new generation, because there are new technologies for charcoal making method. So this site area still remain the cultural and traditional method in charcoal making. So the problem statement in this area is it lack appreciation of the existence of traditional ways of processing charcoal making. So the next part is explained on land use and activities in the site area. Land use involve the management and modification of natural environment or wilderness into built environment such as settlement, industrial area and semi-natural habitat. So this plan shows in a macro scale, which I want to show the site contact of this area. In front of the charcoal factory there also eco-learning center mangrove forest, which is one of the famous attraction for eco-tourism sector. And the right beside the charcoal factories and in front of the charcoal factory also occupied by mangrove forest, and the left beside the charcoal factory also have the residential area named as Kampung Menteri. And this charcoal factory tributary with the Kapal Cangkul river that connect to the Sungai Kuala Sepetang. So for this site analysis and inventory, I have refer on some area, residential area, commercial area in site context, and for the site area, focus on the coastal area and the water body near residential area. So this industry site area has its own sense of place where it still have the natural setting through the identity of the strategic site near to the tributary of Sungai Kapal Cangkul and to Sungai Kuala Sepetang that carry the mangrove product from Pulau Sanggar Kecil by using the water transportation. The landscape setting of the industry are still contained front compound, side compound area, and rear compound area. The language and the tradition of charcoal making still used by the workmanship here is still strong. So next part is I want to show the existing building and land use. So this more focus to the existing building in factory area. In the past interview, I have interviews Pak Chus, owner of charcoal, one of the owner charcoal factories, and he is the only one Malay owner in this area, and the other two is Chinese owner, which is K Hos and Michael Chua's factories. So existing building in this area still remain the same. By it still use the material and construction with timber and woods material, and it still in good condition. Then the site analysis for this area is the factories built before year 1930s in Kampung Kuala Sepetang, but it is still remain and maintain the traditional method in charcoal making, and also maintain the material and construction tools in charcoal industry area. This will attract more tourists, increase the economic sector in tourism sector, and it is surrounded by the mangrove plantation, shrubbery vegetation, and some oil plantation also exist in this site. So then the next part is I want to explain the circulation path in this area, which so the introduction is circulation network are system for transporting people, good and raw material from one point to another point. They range in scale from livestock trails and footpaths to road, canals, major highway, even airstrip. Some, such as Lumbering Road, internally serve a rural community, while others, such as rail path, waterways, and so on. So in this site area, I have divided into two types of circulation, which is vehicular circulation and waterways. For vehicular circulation, I have divided into three, which is primary road that act as main road from Taiping to Kuala Sepetang to the site area, and second, secondary road, and third is tertiary road, which is stray path between the industry factories area, and lastly the waterways. This waterways, I want to explain that before the tide, the area of river become dry. During high tide, it will fill with water from the main river, which is Sungai Sepetang River. So bila air pasang, ini akan memudahkan the transportation activities from my interviews. Pak Chus said that it have license from the Pulau Sanggar to take the mangrove wood to carry from the Pulau Sanggar to his factories. So he will use transportation waterways method to carry the mangrove wood. So we can see here at behind his factories, there also the waterways, which is tributary of Sungai Kapal Cangkul. that act as the charcoal making activities, and their product will transport by using these waterways. So next is the cultural and tradition and activities. I want to explain on how the program and activities and also the process of the site area. So the program and activities start with the silviculture method, which is name of the method. That explain how the filling with potted seedling Rhizophora apiculata. So daripada start tu dia akan tanam pokok menggunakan silviculture activities. So then there's according to the mangrove forest, a former crab infested site rehabilitated by the use of potted seedling in 1998, and it shows a previously clear fell area which has been successfully planted with Rhizophora apiculata propagus slightly more than 1 year old. So then, with the same site, 12 years later in 2000, the heavy twigs as a result of planting spacing based on 1.8 meter as opposed to the number 1.2 multiplied by 1.3 meter. Then a 15 years stand ready for thinning process. Then they will use the transportation method to go to the pulau Sanggar Kecil to make the thinning process. So the picture shows the man is seen loading the tin poles into wooden barge. Then the thinning operation conducted with only hand axe. So dia guna tools axe untuk potong pokok. Then the thinning using axe to cut the mangrove tree. So then after cut the tree, a 30-year-old Rhizophora apiculata for final felling. There shows a final felling operation in progress. But this is he used the jigsaw, and after they cut, they will susun pokok tu. So this is a typical scene of clear felling operation after felling coup. Then a stack of round timber, always standard length, dia akan potong dalam panjang 1.6 meter, and wooden mallet used to divide it. So then they will carry the wooden to the factories, and the charcoal kilns and activities start in charcoal factories in Mata Mangrove area. So this show the process how the charcoal making in the factories area. So then this is the profile of the company that I have interviewed, which is Pachus, and you also tell more about the care house holding, because he is one of the famous owners in this area. Have been then this show the charcoal activity, how the process started from the harvesting the log, then transportation of the log, cutting the logs, and start to transformation of charcoal process, start with the combustion process, packing process, and final product will be packed, will be use this packaging, and we ready to transport to the other country. Next, this is the site analysis from the cultural activities. From the cultural tradition and activities, I have concluded that there's 3 things, which is associations, material tools, and workmanship. This association, which is this traditional charcoal making, is still happening in this site area, which it still retained, and we can see the cultural traditional methods in charcoal making activities in landscape site area in Kuala Sepetang. Then the material and tools are still using the traditional construction tools in this industry area, which is they also recycle the old wooden of the mangrove tree yang tak jadi pakai untuk proses arang. Then the serbuk arang tu juga dijadikan sebagai tanah di kawasan site. And some of the area, especially dekat dapur untuk pembakaran arang, they use concrete materials, but just a little bit innovation for the combustion process in charcoal making. So the workmanship explained that this area is still maintained by 3 owners of charcoal factories, and they also have some workers, foreigner workers, who always help them in tourism sector by introduce how important of this traditional making, and we have to conserve it because it give a lot of potential to conserve and enhance the traditional charcoal making in landscape site area. Then the next part is the response to natural environment, which is explain the vegetation and wildlife aspect. So this is the introduction. The vegetation described in the National Register Guideline are functional and ornamental trees and shrubs. So this is I have referred from the notes given a little bit, and I have divided this area into some vegetation area, which is mangrove reservation area. There are also vegetation within the industry area, vegetation in the settlement area. There are also the mangrove area between the settlement and industry area, the riparian vegetation along the coastal area of Kapal Charcoal River, and there are also shrubbery vegetation that located in front of the entrance of site location and behind the site location, but this area has become the abandoned land and not well maintained, and no one take care of it. So for my analysis is this area somehow need to give construction for the bad views. So the vegetation identified within the site landscape traditional charcoal making area is coastal vegetation, vegetation between the settlement area of Kampung Binti, which is residential area, and industry area, which is charcoal factories or patches and microchores factories, because the location of their factories are near to the settlement area. So then this is the section that I cut behind the factories to the Teluk Getang, so we can see how the Sungai Kapal Charcoal views. Then there are also the wildlife species in this area, for example such as lotong kelabu, beruk Jepun, and so on. There is divided into aquatic and marine species, bird species, and other wildlife or mammals. So lastly, this is my site synthesis. So this site synthesis shows the composite map of charcoal industry in Kuala Sepetang. It is one of the traditional building and activities that still remain here and provide potential areas that can give impacts to the surrounding area. So the history and conservation of the modern charcoal making can be treated by single changes such as large scale industries in traditional making method that cause the flattened contours of the land, erase the cultural boundary markers, building and fences. The integrity may be lost due to cumulative effect of located and lost cultural method in charcoal making, its building and structures. So the site issues I have considered in the placemaking consideration, and it made with 3 classification, which is social, physical, and environment, but the focus is on the social aspect, which is lack appreciation of the existence of traditional ways of processing charcoal making. Then the physical aspect is the site area full with the rubbish collection problem near the charcoal factory areas. So this will cause the flood and dirty area with rubbish. So then the environmental is explain the coastal and river sedimentation erosion behind the charcoal factories area. So this composite map, I want to explain where the potential area and the issues area in this area. So I divided into 6 aspect, which is traditional industry activity that give potential area. The red color and the yellow color is the issue area, which is waste management near to the factories area. The green color is also the issues area, which is front entrance view. It lack of the welcoming sense, and a lot of people or the other tourists come will takkan nampak site ni sebab entrance dia lack of the vegetation, trees vegetation, and the signboard. Then the purple color is the main entrance roadway, same with the front entrance view. This is the issue area. Then lastly, the potential area is water canals. So water canals give potential to this site area in terms of transportation charcoal activities. So these industry areas still remain their cultural and traditional identity, from the physical character itself to the landscape compound area. And this site also full with vegetation area around the charcoal factories, and the water canals act as a boundary demarcation and also act as shade to the industrial area and also residential Chinese community at this area. Then this is the explanation of from the issues and potential area that I divided into 3 aspects, which is discontinuous or cultural tradition activities, the alternation of buildings and structure, and lastly the improper entrance, roadway, and abandoned area. So this is the site significance, which is divided into 3. First, this site associates with activities and events in traditional making in charcoals. Then the second is conservation, the traditional method. Lastly, it associates with the mangrove conservation ecotourism aspect activities. So